And this was actually posted, I believe it was MSNBC. And so I'm showing you kind of an image as they're stacked up on top of each other. These are actually the same image. What MSNBC recently reported is that curfew, let's see, what did they say? They said curfews are imposed across the U.S. as protesters hit the streets. And this is the image that they're showing under breaking news. Now, I don't know about you, but the integrity of a major news media outlet should not be posting movie trailers to incite fear and panic into the public, which is exactly what this image is. It's actually, this image that they used during the report was actually an overlay of a movie image from the movie with Brad Pitt called World War Z. So if you remember that movie a number of years ago, this has actually been, this trailer has been, or a clip of this trailer has been used in major media to report the outbreaks. Now, as if the outbreaks weren't bad enough, I mean, there are definitely buildings on fire, cars on fire, people being killed, maimed, and injured in the name of a protest. And again, I'm not going to get too much into the politics of that. I think what happened was awful and terrible. I think we can all agree on that. But I think that the way things are being illustrated and the way things are being done are also awful and terrible. And you can't really fix awful and terrible with more awful and terrible. So the other thing I want to show you. So again, the theme here is this is the media, right? The media has shown you kind of this trailer of this fake trailer of a movie and called it reality. And subsequently, what they haven't shown you. So let's throw up a couple of images here. So what you probably have not seen in the media is the bricks that actually have been being reported to be dropped off at different locations where these riots have been occurring. In essence, there are these random mysterious bricks that are showing up in different places for people to throw. These are not bricks that are there as a result of a construction site or bricks that are there that are designed to be used for anything other than anarchy, protest, and injuring and maiming people and property. And so the media hasn't really been showing this. We got a couple of images of those bricks. It's not just one location, but it's actually multiple locations and a number of different people reporting live from their cell phone camera showing where these bricks are being placed randomly inside these protests to be used to incite violence. So those things, we haven't really been shown. We've been shown the fear and the danger. And remember, kind of tying this back into COVID, what were we told originally? We were told with COVID, we were told be prepared for 4 to 5% mortality rate. We were told we couldn't stop the spread, but we should try to stop the curve. And we were told that this disease was going to kill at least 1 million people in the U.S. And we were told this by the same media. And it's not like we were told this directly, from the CDC so much as we were told this by the media. So this lie, this mortality rate that was based on false premises, the media pushed down our throats. The media pushed down social distancing down our throats. The media pushed wear the masks down our throats, even though all the scientists weren't on board or weren't agreeing with these policies. So this was media, right? This was the media that was doing this. Just like the media is pushing a false narrative around these protests. They're showing you images that didn't actually happen. They're showing you things that did happen. They're not showing you things that did happen. I'd like to throw up a couple of other images. Let's see, image number 3 here. Let's look at this, because this is actually, we talk about these protests. A lot of them are peaceful and actually in the right spirit, and they're doing things in the right spirit. This is actually an image of men protecting a police officer as the riots were getting out of control. We didn't see that in the mainstream media. There's another image. We've got image 2 of a young person being hugged by a police officer. I believe that was out of Portland, Oregon. So these are kind of images that were not being shown. We're not being shown the humanity. What we're being shown is the fear. We're being shown the violence. We're being shown the burning buildings. Now, all that being said, I think we should be being shown both, certainly, and I think we should know why what is this false narrative and why is this false narrative coming? Again, we've talked about this in the past very recently, that false narrative drives up or increases fear and many people anger. And so what happens when we're in fear and anger is bad decision making, right? We make decisions out of emotion or emotional decision making. Bad decisions get made, people get angry, more violence continues, and we have this feeding frenzy that doesn't end. And ultimately, part of what's happened as a result of this frenzy is more rights, more freedom. Curfews have been put in place. Now, I'm not disagreeing with the curfews. I think where there's riots and protests, where there's violence and there's burning, I think certainly the law enforcement has an obligation to protect the people. That's why we pay taxes, is so that law enforcement will protect us. Many of the mayors in a number of these cities have said we're not going to bring in the law enforcement, which I think is quite sad. Those mayors need to be recalled for not doing their job, for not doing their duty. But again, the media is driving this false narrative, and they're not showing you much of the humanity of what's happening, but they're showing you the burning, the fear, and the anger, and that's leading to, in my opinion, more violence, more riots, and more problems. So I think ultimately, we've said it a number of times over the past couple of months as COVID has taken over. Turn off the TV, turn off the media. Don't buy into the hype. They're lying. Now, why are they lying? I think many of us could speculate as to why they're lying. I think there's an agenda, a social agenda that's trying to be pushed. I think part of it is deeper than what most of us know or understand or have access to information to be able to ascertain. But at the same time, it's obviously a narrative. So I don't want to harp and focus too deeply on this topic tonight, but I thought I would just share my thought process around this very tragic event as it's playing out, and happy to take any of your commentary, questions about it as we go through the show tonight. So I'm going to open it up now for commentary and for questions, and we can dive into that. But one of the things I want to talk about, I want to kind of get back to my roots tonight and talk a little bit about nutrition. We haven't done that in a while, at least in my opinion, in too long of a while. Many of you are probably pretty stressed out about what's going on right now. And it's that stress, that chronic stress, that chronic fear mode, that chronic fight or flight that's going to eat you alive. It'll eat you alive slowly, as you're all still, many of you, not all of you, but many of you are still in lockdown. Schools are still not starting back up in most places. Social engagement is increased a little bit, but still not in full force, still not starting up in full force. So the stress, now we're worried about the impending stress. There's the economic collapse or the economic crash. We've talked about prepping ahead for that and making sure you have enough food, making sure you have the ability to protect your family, whether that means guns, ammunition, whether it means food, whatever that means, whether it means you need to get with other people and get together, should riots come to your neighborhood, whatever you've got to do to protect your family, just make sure you're prepared. But it's the stress.
Hey, don't forget to check out the rest of the series right here. Make sure you hit subscribe below. And as always, thanks for tuning in.